Please stand to your feet. Romans 12, verse 21. Let's read this together. This is an awesome verse. Just like the rest of the Bible, this verse has so much deeper meaning than what it just comes across at first. Let's read this together. 1, 2, 3. Be not overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. You know, the reason that a lot of people have a hard time breaking bad habits is because they have nothing to fill the void. You ever notice that? The bad habit void, the times when they go back to the bad habit, it's always something's missing. They need to do something. And if you can replace the bad with something good, it becomes a lot easier to kill that habit, doesn't it? And it's just, it can be, and by habit, I'm not just talking about just little things that normal people think about. I'm talking about just bad mental processes too. You know, a lot of times we have very detrimental thinking going on that bad self-image and things like that need to be replaced with an image that you are a king or a queen of God. You know what I mean? One of His princes, His children, a king's kid. We have a lot to be thankful for this morning. It is good to be in God's house. Hope you're ready for Sunday school. Let us go ahead and pray. Lord, we love you. We praise you. We thank you for allowing us to be in your house this morning, for another opportunity to praise you with your people. There are a lot of people that are not able to praise freely, to congregate freely. There are a lot of people that are under a lot of horrible rules with their government that won't allow them to get together like this and serve the one true God. So we thank you for this opportunity. Please help us to use this opportunity to grow deeper roots in you and to spread it to the world. In Jesus' name, the church said, Amen. Amen. You're dismissed to Sunday school.
Guys, I'm going to sit over here. Psst, psst. People in the box. All right. All right. First and foremost, thank God that Amy has it on the screens because the commentaries are on back order. Yeah. I don't know when they're coming in. I ordered them 2 weeks ago. They sent me an email with the PDF of weeks 1 and 2. So apparently they don't know when they're coming in either, but that's okay. So I'm going to sit here with PDFs in my hand looking at you guys and grinning like an idiot, but that's okay. Apparently, it's like every Sunday. It hadn't changed. Except for me sitting on the pew instead of up there. We're not going to go there right now. But anyway, let me let the hair down. I actually fixed my hair, and then I got here, and the power was out, and I started sweating. I was like, oh, this is going to have to go up. I am too old, too hormonally challenged. I mean, I had to, yeah. Oh, yeah, she sent, we have We have informants over close to the church. The first one was actually Priscilla, her being the actual physically closest to the church, but she's on the other side of the road. So she's like, I'm not sure if both sides are out or not. Well, right after Priscilla sent the message, then I get one from Amy, and she's like, there's no power. And I'm thinking, great. Thank God I went ahead and had my coffee. The only problem is I'm going to have to get rid of that coffee. And when you're operating with a well and the pump runs off of electricity, there's a problem. But that's okay. I was born and raised here at a church that did not have plumbing. It did have electricity most of the time. Didn't start out with heat and air and all that. So, hey, there's Mater. I'm going to have to turn around now. I'll have to turn this way. Good. Get on over here, Mater. We're going to start our own class over here. It's going to be called Me, My Four, and No More, except the sound people. No, she's point something. She's point. She is a point, sir. Me and my 4.5 and no more. See, that didn't rhyme nearly as well. That is such a cute little outfit. I love it. One, two, three. I said, and my sound people. David, I want everybody to know that my brother-in-law does not pay attention to what I say. See? Now I've got two of them. You'll notice they're both married. Yeah, they can block out a woman's voice like nothing. That's how I can tell. The first time Timmy came around and I said something and he was oblivious, and then finally Leah said, she's talking to you. I said, oh, God, you're going to marry him. He was ready right there immediately at that point. And then he was like, what? I'm like, see? I'm not going to say that out loud. Anyhow, next week, today is September 4th. Today's Promotion Sunday. So if you have a kid that's moving up to the next class or the next grade level in the church, it is Adrian. Adrian's going to 5th, isn't he? Is it Alex that I'm doing? There's one of them. But Adrian is how old? 9. So he's moving up to our upper elementary. Yeah, because we divide from lower elementary. Lower elementary is 1, 2, and 3. And then upper elementary is 4, 5, 6. And then we go teens 7 through 18, but or 7th grade through 18-year-olds. It needs to be 7th grade through seniors in high school because sometimes the age just don't match up. And then there are some times that we early promote based on level because there are some kids, and I can tell you right now, some the same age of yours that will not be ready to go at the same time that are here even. Do you know what I mean? So, and when it comes to that, and then you've got some like, did we move Alyssa up early? Because, I mean, if she's sitting there bored out of her mind because she's surrounded by little kids and they're coloring and she's like, I'm ready to read chapter 4 of it, sometimes you have to adjust. But no, on this one, it's Adrian this time. So, yes, we think Alex is Mr. Everything, but Adrian is getting old. I'm just playing. Welcome. Every time I comb my hair, I see another bright white streak. I am not plucking mine. I display them. That is hilarious. If y'all didn't hear that back there, Eli likes to remind David how Eli's 4 and David's 40. That means when Eli is 40, David will be 400. Yeah, run that one by him. See if that makes sense to him. I guarantee it will. I watched some videos yesterday, let me tell you. Oh, I saw all of you guys. This one wasn't in existence yet. And those two didn't exist for our church yet. God was still getting them ready. But it was from 2004. and I do believe I'll be able to switch all those over successfully. But it was great. Well, yesterday I watched Old Fashioned Sunday 2004. Another day or so ago, I watched the church's dedication. That was November 2004. I have not watched the homecoming one of 2004. So it's interesting. First of all of us are twice the people we used to be. I mean that in every way that I can possibly mean it, okay? No, not Sandy. Sandy's going the other way now. Congratulations. I would like to go the other way, but hey, apparently, I'm jolly. I say that because fat people are jolly. Here I am. I'm so jolly. But I watched Mater. She was booking it back through there, and I'm like, I don't see Alex. That was pre-children. That was pre-marriage, pre-children. Were you married yet in 2004? When we first started dating. Was 2004. Oh, wow, that's awesome. We didn't have any pews. We had all folding chairs. I wasn't even at this church yet. Because it was special occasion. It was November that I started. Well, it was hilarious. I watched my daughter, who I, of course, thought was the cutest thing I'd ever seen, and she never did sit down with me. She sat on David. Whole time. She was on David's lap. Charlotte was right beside him. Charlotte was 10. David had flowing locks of luscious hair. And Leah sat there the whole time, drawing out his nose. The whole time, and he just dealt with it. And Charlotte would just look on just like, well, that's so cute. She was probably in her mind thinking, oh, he's going to be a good daddy. We're going to go ahead and marry this one. But, yeah, it was great. Leah made me think of Boo. Yeah, and then she had her two little piggy tails. Yeah, that's my kid. But she was her little fat cheeks and her piggy tails. And I tried to keep those bangs cut in, and everybody in the family on their side would be like, no. Hey, when you've got 5 and 6 heads instead of 4 heads, you wear bangs, all right? That's why I wear my bangs. My kid had her bangs. Yeah, apparently it's not in much. I'll wear my bangs and my mullet, and I'll be in style now. Anyhow, it did make me miss my sound people, because as I went through there watching it, I first thought, I hear the creak every time of that tripod going, every time they'd move it around. And then I heard the person running the camera over and over, and I was thinking, I really don't want to hear them. I'd like to hear what's going on instead. And there was one spot. It was over there. So every time they tried to pan over this way to see people, it was nothing but silhouettes because it was so bright. We had no blinds. We had nothing on the walls. Nothing was on the walls, okay? There wasn't a cross, nothing. There was barely the window cut in for the baptistry. And I was like, oh, my. We had a homemade pulpit. It was great. And you know what? Jesus was right there with us, blessing every minute. Huh? Oh, it was so plain. Now what I'm planning on doing, my fine, wonderful friend Amanda, actually that's Mater, she found all of these videos on DVD. Well, most of the time on a computer you can't even get a DVD player anymore. So what I'm going to do, this Wednesday night is going to be our first movie night. Okay, we're going to be meeting in the sanctuary. We'll open, but we're going straight back there. We have all kinds of snacks and things for sale. I'm trying to make it the Everything's a Dollar store, but they were a little bit higher than I planned on. It might be the Everything's a $1.50 store. We'll see. I know, and that's awful. But we're just trying to make the money back off of it so we can, go back and get more. But oh, yeah, we're going to do the Solid Rock Church surcharge on all, snacks. There's a surcharge of 50 cents. Good Lord, that's a big one for $1 snack. No, well, for the whole, everything's $1 plus. Well, don't tempt me with a good time. But anyway, but we'll have drinks and we'll have Skittles and we'll have all kinds of different chocolate candy bars. We're not doing real food, but we are going to do popcorn. All right, so, and if you have a kid, huh? Shoot, yeah, and then send them home with their parents. I'm training to be a grandparent right now. Mine is not having a kid anytime soon, but I'm still going to train. No. It is in the water at the church. We literally have 2, 3 at the church. Oh, I forgot Faith. Oh, my Lord, there are 4 of them. Woo! People, if y'all visit Solid Rock Full Gospel Church, do not drink of the water fountain.
I can. My tubes are gone.
I have no parts left. I can chug it. You know the real parents, when you got the mamas up here high-fiving because they're fixed, can't have any more kids. Yes, praise Jesus. Air high fives. Yay.
No, a year ago I was like, I got a brand new baby.
I'll never forget. I'll never forget the first time that I talked to my brother-in-law and said something about congratulations on number 4, and he's like, yeah. He sounded tired, and it was first thing in the morning at church, and I'm like, God love him. Yeah. Yeah, you don't keep secrets when Hannah knows them. Just to let y'all know. All right, well, I'm done with that. I'm sorry. But I enjoy my time with my church family. I think it is fun for us to get together. Next week, we're going to get together and have baptizing down at Lower Shut-In. It's where we used to have our baptizings. We had one there last year. It used to be owned by Brother Andy Hagens. He was our superintendent forever. And now it belongs to Gary and Karen Goss. They have glamping down there at the river now. If you don't know what glamping is, it's glamorous camping. And they have like those wagons, the covered wagons that are awesome. Leah sent me a video of one on the inside. Yeah, she was supposed to be going down there to spend the night for a honeymoon. She took videos and sent to me. Thank God of only the cabin. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't want to ever go there. But it has like its own little bathroom and heat and air and all like that in this covered wagon. And I'm like, oh, my heavens. That's awesome. That's why they called it glamping. But we will be meeting down there. It's a wonderful place. Now, after we have our baptizing, we're coming back to the church for a picnic. So plan on having, I don't know, hot dog, hamburger, something here at the church. It will just be picnic stuff. Hot dogs, hamburgers, chips. Got plenty of drinks from what I understand. So, I mean, we're set to pop here, people. All right. Is it 10:50 yet? I better get on with the list. Yes. We actually will need some volunteers to bring in food, but the only food, hamburgers, hot dogs, chips. Now, the chips, the church can do those mixed bags, you know, or if y'all need the church to purchase something like the meats, let me know as soon as possible. I'll have them here Wednesday night. And that way people can take them home and have them cooked and done. Lettuce, tomato, onion, and we have condiments. Yeah, we've got plenty of condiments, don't we? Mayo, mustard, ketchup, all that stuff is back there already. We're about poor with that, which is a good thing. And if we have hot dogs, we will need chili. I'm not sure what we have back there. All right, so let's move on. Once again, today, September 4th, the first lesson of the fall quarter. God created everything. Haven't we been talking about that these past like 3-4 weeks? We've been talking about the magnificence of God. We've been talking about how awesome and powerful and majestic. And you can't really look at those things without realizing, you know what? He made it all. And he made it all good. First, God made heaven and earth. Second, he made the living creatures. And then third, he made humans. And there is a progression of order. Right before we do that, Do y'all have tithes and offerings to give in this morning? If you do, great. If you don't, we're just going to sit here and go ahead. Okay, sounds good. We won't bother with taking that up. Both of my Sunday school secretaries are missing in action. I've heard nothing from either one of them, so that makes me concerned. Makes me a little bit bothered, but I mean, what do you say, right? Sometimes people have to miss. I hope they're not sick. We had sickness on Wednesday night, made it to where we weren't able to have church, so hopefully that sickness hasn't spread to anyone. Spread or not, I think it's pretty easy to text a woman. But anyway, here we go. Enough said on that one. I digress. That means I got to shut my mouth before I say something that could get offensive. Okay, I hope she's all right. Anyway, we are looking at Genesis, of course. When we're talking about creation, talking about how God created stuff, we're naturally going to go look into Genesis. We're going to start with Genesis 1:1. That would be the very, very first one. Yes, the beginning of baseball right here, in the big inning. Sorry, that was your dad joke for the day. I should have had David tell it. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Now, this is where a lot of controversy can come into play. And before I continue on with this, I'm going to have Charlotte pray over this lesson, because I almost forgot in not taking up the offering. So will you please pray?
Thank you, Lord, for this wonderful morning you've given us and to hear about your word. And today
Amen. Now, this is one of those lessons. We have been in church for a long time. And I'm not talking about since 9 this morning. I'm saying a long time of our lives. And we've been trained thoroughly. Well, on the first day, God created the heaven. Okay, yeah, I know all that. And we know those things. But we need to really dig deep to see what God's trying to show us in this. Okay? And there are some things that I just found wonderful. I've always enjoyed the creation story because I was always a science teacher. And when you're a science teacher at a public school and you're a Christian, you get a lot of questions thrown your way, you know. Well, what did God create us was? Last week on the school bus that my husband drives, a kid looks over at me, a middle school kid. He looks at me and says, "Well, where did God come from?" That's one of the first things that you get every single time. And I looked at him, I said, "God always was." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, he always was. He was before everything." He goes, "Huh. Well, how did he make the earth?" Oh, let's have a talk. I love it because kids are super inquisitive and they can think of stuff like nobody's business. If you don't believe me, you talk to Mater after church. You see what Charlotte can tell you that her children come home with. You ask Sandy what was the last thing that Blakeland was talking about. They will tell you, because at the ages that their kids are, oh boy, the world is opening up. And yes, it is. And that is why it is so important to have the right people in the right positions. If I don't have somebody in a classroom at church who is going to explain God always was, how? How do you explain that? As a leader, as a teacher, as a parent, how do you explain, well, God always was? Not everybody at once. Might scare me to death. David, how would you explain God always was? It is beyond human comprehension to a point. Yeah. It's tied to a magic word that we as Christians love, because you got to have it, faith. Our faith teaches us, when we study the Bible, it teaches us to depend, to know. Faith, what is faith? It is the substance of things hoped for, but what? Evidence of seen things. Not seen. Like what? Oh, like gravity. I can't see gravity, but let me throw you up. Yeah, let's throw him to the ceiling. Let's see what happens. Throw him up quickly, get out of the way. I mean, we got enough here. There's one for each leg and arm. All right. David does not have the face on him right now that he's wanting that to happen. He kind of has a face of, please, Jesus, let her go on. Anyhow. That would be cool. It's not going to happen. But because of that thing called gravity. By the way, I can't see wind. Can you see wind? No. You can see what it can do. You see the effects of it. You don't see wind itself. I may not be able to see God, but I see everything of God. We couldn't be here without God. It's that simple, right? But let's go on. It says that, verse number 9, and God said, we've moved to day 2. Day 1, what was made? The heavens and the earth. Do you know how many heavens there are? Just to make sure. There are 3 heavens. Now, then there is a usual what kind of thing, yeah. 3 heavens, but what am I talking about when I say there are 3 heavens? Well, this is how it works. And oh my goodness, I just got my papers out of order. I may never get right again. All right, this is why I like to keep a book. Pathway, I need my book, the spiral bound, large print. Anyway, so they can't help it, it's back ordered. Pathway, I need a book quicker. Anyway, he created the heaven and the earth. Now, the heaven is actually, it says earth was without form and void, darkness was on the face of the deep. Spirit of God moved upon the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, and that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And the light was day, and the darkness was night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Okay, so that separates light and dark and heaven and earth. Now, let's talk about those 3 heavens. The first heaven, that is the actual, what we recognize as saying, ooh, I'm going to heaven. Where God lives, where Jesus resides, where the angels are. That's heaven, all right? When we pass on from this life, our ultimate goal is to spend eternity where? In heaven. All right, the second heaven, outer space. The entire universe, second heaven. We don't reside in the second heaven unless we're members of NASA, and we're not going to live there our entire lives. We're going to come back and forth, right? SpaceX, all that good stuff. That's second heaven area. The third heaven is our atmosphere. God created each one of these very special, okay? He created them for a specific job. Job of first heaven, that's his home. That's the home he's preparing for us for eternity, because the old skin here, the skin suit isn't going to last for eternity, but what's inside is. The second heaven, being outer space, that was created for all these stars and suns, and it actually exists to create temperatures and to control what enters into us physically. If we did not have space as it is, and how it is set up, just like that magical thing that we can't see, but it's called gravity, every planet would do what? Crash right into each other. We'd fly straight into the sun first thing, because the sun, being a star, will draw us straight into it with its gravity. That's why we have a certain orbit, a perfect circle around the sun. You think that just naturally happened? I don't think so. A lot of people say, oh, well, and as a public school teacher, I was required to teach about the Big Bang Theory. I love to focus on the word theory. You know what a theory is? That has never been proven. Yeah, but who put it in motion? It had started at that point, and what was that point? That point must have been God. Yep. It just happened. A singularity. I didn't realize we could call God's voice a singularity. I mean, really, I love science. I like to get in there and dig because if you expect me to believe that some magical, dense, hot size of the head of a pin all of a sudden exploded, I'm sorry, it went bang, really big, and every single star, every single planet, every single everything came out of it. That takes a whole lot more faith than for me to believe that there was a God, a master of creation, who put us all out there. Yep. Yeah. Well, I wonder why. It's because those laws are spelled G-O-D. And they can't go back there. They didn't exist when God. And for that matter, how old do they say the sun is approximately? 40. It's 4.5 billion years old. It's reached its half life. I want to know who was there at the start to record these days and years. It's like the dinosaurs went extinct back in, how many thousands of years? Great. Who was alive to write that down? Oh, well, we carbon dated it. Really? The process of carbon dating takes whatever the material is, and it goes in and it gives you the half-life of whatever the material was based on how the material reacts to certain elements, electricity, heat, all this stuff, how it acts. But if the half-life is over 700 years old, tell me, who was there for the whole life to mark down when it started? Yeah. Yes. Yes. It's they reach for things. And isn't that normal how humans act? We reach for explanations. Honey, you don't have to reach for explanations. Open your Bible. It's right there. Let's look at days 2 and 3 at verse number 9. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. All right, so days 2 and 3. He has created heaven 1, his home, heaven 2, outer space, heaven 3, the earth atmosphere. He created those 3 separate things. One, to be separate from what world would be, so we can't blame everything on God or everything on world. If he did it, you're going to know he did it. And if it came of the world, it can be explained away. And if it can be explained away, that's not necessarily something that he had proof of. You know what I'm saying? He might have known it, but he may not have caused it. Which brings me to this. Under the heaven be gathered unto one place, and let the dry land appear. Which heaven? The third heaven, our atmosphere. You see, our atmosphere, if it didn't exist, we would constantly have stars, meteorites, anything in outer space would fly straight into the earth itself. Okay? If you've ever been out to Arizona, there is a massive meteor crater, several miles wide. I was fortunate to get to actually in person visit it. You couldn't see the crater going up to it. It was like a massive mountain. We drove a very long driveway to get to the top of this massive mountain so we could get out and walk on up to look down into this meteor crater. Then we saw the meteor that created the crater. It was literally about the size of this square rectangular shape that my papers are sitting on. Thor's hammer I did not find. And if I had of, I'm glad I didn't find it. Jimmy would have jerked that thing right out of the ground because, in my opinion, he is worthy. But, sorry. Ken started it. Anyway, this meteor, literally, it wasn't that big. But it created a dent in the crust of the earth that was miles wide and miles deep. I can't remember if it said it was 3 miles across or 3 miles down. I think it was 3 miles across and a mile something down. It was this big, people. And that wasn't full size when it hit. Because as it came into the Earth's atmosphere, our atmosphere is designed where the outer layer of our atmosphere is the absolute hottest you can get a hold of unless you're standing on the sun. Because when things enter into our atmosphere, it is made to destroy anything before it can get to us. My God loves me. He's trying to protect me. No matter where I might be walking at the time. It might be in North Carolina, Tennessee. It might be in Africa. I'll wear lots of sunscreen. Or it might be at the North Pole. I'll get my big old fuzzy jacket. Either way, he's trying to protect me. That meteor came out this size and made that much of a hole. If he hadn't put the atmosphere around us, we wouldn't have near the protection that we have. And then the next thing is so cool. You got the absolute hottest area of the atmosphere, and it immediately goes into the coldest area of all of the atmosphere. I like it. She's imitating now. Hey, Abigail. Hey. She's like, okay, I'm done. Anyway, you've got the hottest. Hey, there it is. We got that picture. Well, ours is better because that was before the panoramic views came out, and Jimmy stood still in one spot. He's like, give me the camera. Do y'all remember those things that existed? Charlotte may not. Mater probably doesn't. But David, you remember when weren't you with us on that one? We stood up there, and Jimmy took the camera, and he's like, hang on, give me the camera. We taped them together whenever we got home. I still have those 3 pictures taped together. You lay it out, you see the whole thing. Yeah, there we go. There was a rock on the other side. If you look through their little, up there where it's got the little hut thingy where you look at everything, observation deck, sorry, there it is. You would look through these binocular things, the quarter jobs, you look through them. On the other side, there was this massive rock. It looked as big as my car through the binoculars. And then they had this little note written on the binoculars pointing at that specific rock that says, this rock is larger than a 3-story house. And I was thinking, whoa, that's a big rock. I'm glad that one wasn't the one that hit and made the hole. We'd all be gone. There would be no North America after that one. You see, God's trying to protect us, even in creating the atmosphere. I can't remember the date on the making of this one. If you find it, Amy, throw it up there. I'm sure she will. Give her like 5 seconds. Oh, yeah, this was Age of Dinosaurs. Yeah, that's what I think. And I am serious about that. No, I think this one killed the dinosaurs. Because think about it. Oh, here comes my theory. Once again, what's theory? Something that's never been proven. Here's the Stellania White theory of dinosaur extinction. Okay, God created man where? The location is over in what we recognize as Turkey, in that area. okay? Israel, all that area. You got Mesopotamia, which is right there in the Fertile Crescent. If you look at a map of the world, it is located close to like Mediterranean Sea, Turkey, Israel, Egypt. It's all right there. That's your main area that man came from. Man didn't come from North America. Honey, we didn't pop up in North Carolina like, well, here we are. We would all sound a lot different if that were the case, but we didn't. And it has been shown by archaeologist digs. All right, this is scientists. Here we go, 50,000 years ago. The Pleistocene epoch. See, those are natural words. Anyhow, I said them and they're still not right, and I'm supposedly educated. I just pray. I say what I think it's going to sound like anyhow. It gets more entertaining that way. So anyhow, you got all the people starting in that area. It has been shown through artifacts, through the digs, through all of these things that have been found to prove people started there, and as the numbers started increasing of people, they started to spread. The first area they started to spread, they started down into Africa, and they started up into Europe across Asia. They continued to where they had filled up all of Europe, all of the Asia, all of that continent was filled. All of Africa was filled. There's your first locations. Then they continue on. There was a land bridge. If you get into science and stuff, they'll say, oh, well, where Russia connects with Alaska, of course, looking from your point of view, it's Alaska and Russia. There is this thing called the Bering Strait. It's now underwater. Once upon a time, it has been shown through the same archaeologist studies, digs, searches, all like that. It is shown that that land was exposed for an amount of time. And supposedly, that's where all of the horses came from. They traveled from the same regions of man over into North America. Now, let's go and start talking about some dinosaur bones. The majority of dinosaur bones have been found in two main continents. Would you like to guess the two continents? I'll give you a hint. Not Europe, not Asia, and not Africa. Guess two more. You know what, Charlotte? You're halfway there. North America and South America. Because in North America and South America, I believe God separated us from them for a reason. Hello, snack. I don't feel like having a, T-Rex pick his teeth with my femur. So God protected his people. He separated, right? And he created that land bridge so people could continue to experience. But wait. If people continue to expand, and they expand over into T-Rex's area to where they can be eaten, then what's God going to have to do? He's got to figure out a way to get rid of T-Rex. Now, a lot of people say, well, that was with Noah's Ark. It could have been. They still write about Leviathans and things before and after. So that part I find difficult to lean to 100%. I think that crater, that meteorite that hit in Arizona finished the job, because it was said that once this hit, the dust that came from this, the dust cloud would have choked out anything living for several years. So understand, I think that's where the rest of the dinosaurs got choked out. Are alligators dinosaurs? Could be. You know why? They can live underwater. Guess where a dust cloud doesn't go? It don't go underwater. All right? So now you have the Stellania White theory of dinosaur extinction based on a meteorite. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see, God has an order. They can try to explain anything out, but they need to realize you can't explain God out. I used to tell my kids in class about the Big Bang Theory. God said it, bang, it happened. In verse number 14, the fourth day, Oh, no, no, no. I want to go back to verse number 11. I'm sorry. This is something that I picked up this time. It was the first time I've ever picked this up, and I thought, oh, my goodness, thank you, Jesus. How do you know a fruit is a fruit? Where are the seeds? A fruit is a fruit if the seeds are inside. That is one of the main characteristics, right? Look at verse number 11. And the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is where? In itself. Oh, we don't need to listen to that Bible, do we? Apparently science did. God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. Okay. So, wait, let's finish that one over in, nope, not that one. Never mind. I was wrong. Let's just talk about the light and the fourth day. How important is the light? If the earth had been placed in orbit a half inch, 1 centimeter closer or farther away from the sun, there would be no life because the temperature extremes could not be handled by us. For example, let's look at, oh, it doesn't go on and read that part. Verses number 17 and 18, talking about how he placed them specifically and says plainly that it's going to have this time for day, this time for night, this time for seasons. The Bible talks about the seasons. The moon has a certain timetable and turning also to help seasons, crops, growing food. In this creation, he talks about plants being our meat. In the beginning, were we supposed to be killing animals and eating them? No, not at all. It was supposed to be only plants. And it's written in here over and over how plants were to be our meat. Plants were supposed to be the meat for animals. It wasn't until humans made the wrong decision that the other came into play. But in this, it was important that we had the right temperature, the right amount of water, the right amount of land, the right amount of plants. God had an exact order, and why people can't see that and get that through their heads, I don't get it. I don't understand that at all. People are like, well, I don't understand how you Christians can just believe that God can do anything. Are you kidding me? It would be harder for me to believe that we just so happen to be in the exact spot to stay in an orbit that's perfectly circular around the sun, which is at the perfect temperature to keep the corn growing the way it's supposed to grow at certain times through the year. I mean, come on. But that just happened, right? No, it didn't. All right. There is absolutely no way I'm going to get through this whole thing. And you know, when I was studying, I thought, man, this is going to be short. No, this isn't going to be a short one. This is one we really need to dig down deep in. We need to dig in this stuff just so we can teach others. See, I find it of great importance of who showed up for Sunday school. Science has always proven the Bible. Archaeology has always proven the Bible. They argued for years. I'm going to have to stop the lesson right there just because there's no way I can keep on with this. We'll finish it next week. So, hey, stay tuned for the second part of God Creates Everything. All right. So, I don't need them books to come in anyway. We're going to keep one lesson for 3 weeks. but it's so wonderful because the house of David. Oh, Lord. Right and left, that's not true. We've never found anything. That didn't exist. The Bible talks about it. It's not real. Guess what they finally uncovered? They found pottery. And on the bottom was inscribed, House of David. They proved the Bible right in trying to prove it wrong. Oh, they couldn't cross the Red Sea. They couldn't do that. There's just no way. The waters cannot be raised like that. Chariots could not have gone through there. Guess what they found? They send in the sonar. They send in all the equipment. And down there at the bottom, They found chariot wheels. They can't prove the Bible wrong. They're only going to prove it right. Oh, everybody does. And when they say, really, well, where was God? He was always. Well, how do you know? I got faith. How do you know? How do you know how you were born? How do you know how old the sun is? For real, all right? Get real with them. Really, who was there to write down 4.5 billion years ago? Well, here's day one of the sun. You know, it's like, Tammy, bring me that rock. I need to scratch this in over here. The sun is now 3 days old. We need to make sure everybody. Really? I can't even attest to the Bible being over 2,000 years old because I wasn't there. But guess what? They were. And they wrote it down. And as soon as something needs to be proven, look to the Word. It's not that hard to do. Every time. Oh, yeah. Every time they try to prove it wrong, they'll prove it right. It never fails. I find it quite funny. That's why I think my God is as sarcastic as I am. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I love how they call it the Goldilocks zone. Love it. The earth is existing in the Goldilocks zone. It's not too hot and it's not too cold. It is just right. You got to have everything just right, even for a baby to be created. Do we have anybody here today that wants to inspire us with any words of growth? Yes or no? I done said it. David has grown more. Do I get to do this to you? Joe, you want to share something with people?
Not really.
No? Okay. Oh, no, it's Kim. Kim has something to share. Did we find out what we're having?
A boy.
Woo, another boy. Another cornered boy. God, we're praying. It's going to be great. Oh, no, and you. We've got growth all over this place, people. You want to tell them? I read it this morning.
Oh,
Yeah, hers is not having a child.
no.
No, if it is, we're all going to be killing her, all right? We'll resurrect her for the wedding.
We get keys to our house Wednesday.
Somebody closed on their house. Yay! It's going to be wonderful. Tammy, you're going to move